talk of the town. We're the artists, the actresses, the filmmakers too, meeting Venus. Yeah, we're coming through. Shine your light, let your voices be heard. We're spreading love with every single word, from the stage to the screen. We're making our mark, meeting Venus. Together we embark.
Hello, good day. Today I'm very happy to welcome Yeisy Rojas. She's a young musician and violinist, originally from Cuba. How are you, Yeisy?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I am perfect.
Uh, I want to ask you a little bit about how the interest in music started with you. I know that as well, Cuban music, they have a special flavor among other Latino music. And very popular, for a long time. So tell me a little bit about your interest in music and how did you transfer from like a music lover or music fan to a professional musician?
Well, my history is like from a long, long time ago when I was 7 years. I remember I was even before I was six. I was always like watching TV and watching like great artists like Selena, Gloria Stefan, and I was just thinking like, oh my God, it's so lovely to be on the stage and sing in front of the people. So I grew up. I'm from Cuba, so I grew up in the 90s when the situation in Cuba was kind of difficult. We didn't have so much electricity sometimes. So I remember when we didn't have electricity, I just took my like the control of the TV and I was just singing. So I was always like happy. I was dreaming like I want to be an artist and I want to perform for the audience. So yeah, it's with 7 years I make an audition in a national art school in Cuba. So I start to study violin. So I study violin for 11 years, and then I started to work in the opera in Cuba as a violinist, and then I was more like, yeah, classical is fine, but I think I need something. I have something in mind that I need to share with the people, and it's my music. So yeah, it was like a transition.
Now you remind me of Gloria Stefan and Miami Sound Machine. I used to love them,
Yeah.
since the first songs do the conga and Doctor Beat, and I used to have all of Gloria Stefan solo albums and also some of her concerts. I used to love her singing live, her concerts.
Yeah, so
So,
much.
yeah, very beautiful songs, romantic songs cut both ways, I remember, and, long time. So, right now, tell me about the heritage, the Afro-Cuban music. Tell me about your classic training and as well, how do you see right now the music industry in Cuba, and do artists like yourself need to travel outside of Cuba to present their work?
Yes, like as I said, I was studying classical music, and then I was playing classical music in the orchestra for the opera and the ballet. But then I met a guy from Norway. He was Norwegian, and he was a pianist, and he showed me like, there's like another world is about jazz and popular music. So we become a couple who is my husband right now. But then it was because of him that I decided to move to Norway. to study here, just at the University of Agder in Kristiansand. There's a city in Norway. And then when I was there, I was just every time when I was saying like I'm from Cuba, people were like, "Wow, Cuba! There's so much music. Could you play timbales or something?" And I discovered like, wow, I don't know so much music about my own country. I just know more like Bach or Beethoven than the musicians from my own country. So and but at the same time I was having a struggle with the language, because it's a Norwegian language here, and I couldn't communicate so well. So most of the time I was totally alone, and sometimes I was also depressed. So I just to fix my loneliness, can I say that, I was just start to listen more Cuban music. I discovered Chucho Valdez, the great pianist from Cuba, Irakere, and then I become so obsessed with that, and I just discovered that every time when I listen Cuban music, it's like, wow, I feel more close to my country. So in somehow, like, to be alone in Norway was like the door to discover my own music, my own roots, and start to make my own music. So I feel really grateful for that.
Great. And right now, I saw the press release about your album. It is called Mis Ancestros, to my ancestor. So tell me a little bit about the concept of the album. How did you came up with the different pieces and you assemble it until you started to release this album?
Yeah, well, I think this album came because of my loneliness in Norway. As I said, I was listening Cuban music, and it started to dream like, wow, I want to make my own music. I want to discover more my own sound. So I started to make my own compositions, and it was like a long way until I discovered like I'm ready to make an album. So in that album, I make a collaboration with some great artists from Cuba, like Julito Padron and Gaston Hoya, who is like one of my biggest idols. He was playing with Chucho Valdez, and he was the producer of my album. So it was just an beautiful experience to go in the studio to show, here's my songs, and he make the arrangement, and uh, it was just magic in the studio. We record for 2 days, just 2 days, the 7 songs in Madrid. And then it have been so easy just to, can I say, in my violin solos to just, I'm very, very perfectionist. But I'm very happy with this process. And I have get some good results. My album has been playing in radio shows. I also have get attention from Billboard and Rolling Stone. They have wrote some articles about my album and my music, and it made me feel like, wow, uh, is the correct way. When you listen your own heart and you just want to show in your music what you have inside, then it's like, I don't know. I guess the people get more interested in that. So I'm really, really satisfied and happy for that.
So the album is music pieces, or it contains as well songs with singers performing
Yeah, they have like 7 songs. Yeah,
songs, and you are playing the violin.
I'm playing the violin and I'm singing also.
Great, great. This is very nice. So, ¿quieres decir algo en español sobre el álbum también para tus amigos, tu familia en Cuba?
Sí, eh, quiero dar las gracias a este álbum, a mis ancestros, porque gracias a él me descubrí yo misma y también me conecté con mis raíces. You
Ujú.
understood? Like, I can say it
Yes,
in English too. You
no,
speak
no,
Spanish?
entiendo muy bien. Mi esposa es colombiana y estoy en Ecuador ahora. Estoy
Oh,
egipcio, Ah, debe hablar español como voy a comunicar.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And right now, tell me a little bit about the topics that you tackle in your song. And as well, I've seen some of your photos on stage. You play the violin while singing as well, right?
Yes. Mm.
Mhm. Like the guitarist and pianist, you know. Yeah, sometimes they do some songs while they are playing a music instrument. So tell me about the topics you try to tackle in the album. It's something as well, of course, about your family, your grandparents, your ancestors, and what else?
Yeah, not about my family really. It's more about
Mm-hmm,
my ancestors, and there are some
mm-hmm,
songs like the first one, the track Obatala. Obatala is one of the gods from because Cuba was a colony of Spain, and the
mm-hmm,
Spanish colonizers they took a lot of slaves from Africa. Those
mm-hmm,
slaves came with the culture, with the religion, and in that religion they have so many gods, and one of them is Obatala, who is the like the king of everyone. And yeah, that the first track is dedicated to this god Obatala.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, minus was like I took a poem from a writer from Cuba. He called it Nicolas Guillen. So I took this
mm-hmm,
poem and I make the music, and this is dedicated to the races that exist not just in Cuba but in the whole Latin America, but the races between our Afro community, because especially in my family, I remember when I was a child, everyone was saying like, you have to fix your hair, or you have curlies. Yeah, you just straight your hair. And every time I get the standard of like the beauty for be beautiful, you have to straight your hair. But it's just when I
mm-hmm,
came to Norway that I discovered like, wow, it's actually my curly is fine, my color is fine. And the second track is about that topic about the races in the Afro community.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, the other songs are more like dedicated to the ancestors. Yeah.
Great. And I want to ask you, I've seen you did a lot of tours in jazz festivals. By the way, I have a friend, film critic as well from Egypt, who loves jazz, you know. And we have a drummer as well in Egypt called Yahya Khalil. He has a
Okay.
band in the drums. And uh, when I used to work in Egypt Today magazine in Egypt, it's an English published magazine. Yahya Khalil used to do a lot of performance in the pyramids, you know, and around the world, you know. He's a drummer. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you about touring festivals. I've seen you went, there is a Day Gala in Oslo, a festival, yeah, correct? And there
That's
is a Moldy Jazz Festival as well.
yes.
So tell me about presenting your music in front of the live audience. And I want to ask you as well, your husband play on the album or not?
Yeah, he played the piano.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
you might remind me, tell him. I remember listening to Richard Clayderman a lot.
Oh,
We were big fans of him in my generation, of course.
yeah, yeah.
And
He was
still,
very
I
popular
still,
too.
yeah, yeah. I think he loves Richard Clayderman as well. And you know, I love most different type of music, and I like rock and metal music when they incorporate as well violin in metal music and piano. You
Mm.
know, a group I
Gothic.
love very much.
Rock gothic.
Yes, I love. Yeah, yeah, I love Sabotage. I love Sabotage, a rock group, and as well Cinderella. I remember Rainbow and Dio from the 70s. You know, uh,
Mm.
stuff like that. Still listen to the songs while going to work. But
Yeah, yeah.
tell me about your presentation in these festivals, and how do you feel presenting your music in front of live audience?
Well, I can say this is like the most wonderful experience. but I have been doing this for so many years. I remember when I was 7, and in Cuba we didn't have electricity. I was just singing to the
Mhm,
to the people, and for always have been my dream to be on the stage. And it's kind of curious because before I go in the stage, I'm very nervous. But when I go into the stage and I see the crowd, the people, I just it's like, oh, finally I'm at home. So I'm not nervous at all. I'm just have the connection with the people, and it's just so beautiful to sing for them, to play for them, to share also my feelings, because I am very open person. When I sing some sad songs, I sometimes I cry, and I say to the people, hey, just I'm so sorry, I'm super sad with I sing that song. And it's so beautiful because sometimes I see some people also are crying even when they don't understand. They're Norwegians, they don't understand Spanish, but they also
mhm,
cry. They get my energy. So for me,
mhm.
like this is like the most beautiful thing that I have been experienced. And I just think this is a every time when I am on stage, I just feel at home. Yeah.
Yes. I used to have some friends from Norway, and we used to meet in Tribeca Festival. We go to watch the movies in New York. And I remember, I don't know, maybe you noticed Norwegian people are very communicative. It is easy to start a conversation with them,
Okay.
and very down to earth. I don't know if you share my thoughts or not, but
Every person have like different experience. I guess the Norwegians are kind, really kind, but
yes,
sometimes they can be very shy and
yes.
yeah, yeah,
Mm. Tell me, because you have a long story since your childhood,
yeah,
uh, uh, until now, and you're starting to promote your album. By the way, it's on Spotify, right? We can listen to
yeah.
it on
It's
Spotify.
on all the
Very,
platforms. Yeah.
very good. I will listen to it today or tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Uh, you know, I want to ask you, um, do you have a certain advice for singers, musicians from your generation, that faces such challenges, being a difficult situation in their country or their family or the social surrounding? Based on your experience, what can you tell them?
Never stop,
Mm-hmm,
and never stop dreaming. And like things sometimes take a lot of time, but not just because of that just have to quit. You always have to keep going, keep showing, and until they will say, yeah, you are genius, you are amazing. There
mm-hmm,
is a long time to release that. But when you just keep going and keep working, and you're disciplined and you have a passion, then like things come easy. So
mm-hmm,
my advice is like never stop and um never quit. Mm.
mm-hmm. Of course, we talked about Gloria Stefan, and she had a lot of popular songs in English and complete albums in English.
That's
Do you think you would like to do something in the future in English, Norwegian, and your husband can help as well with the translation?
I think so. Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
because I'm very open person and an artist also.
Hmm.
Uh, I have been playing classical music for so long. Then I discovered like the jazz, and I started to study jazz, and I have
Sure.
been playing jazz and also Cuban music and swing from New York. So for me, it's just amazing to every time to put a challenge, a new challenge for me. So of
Hmm.
course, even when I'm not an English speaker, it
Hmm.
could be amazing to make an album in English also. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And make a collaborations also with other artists that they are not in my genre. But I just love to idea to expand and to do something new, of course.
Hmm. I think it is great that you had your album reviewed in Billboard and Rolling Stones. Uh, in my generation, we used to buy a magazine called Smash Hits.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, during the MTV and VH1, rise in the
Yeah,
music business. hmm But I want to ask you right now, what kind of plans you have, of course, with your husband to plan to promote the album, and you have other plans you would like to do as well in the near future.
yeah. One of my plans is I'm already making more music because next plan is like to make the second album.
hmm
And
Great,
yeah, I cannot say so many details, but
no
it's gonna
problem.
be also so many surprises and a beautiful
Great,
album too.
great.
And it will be dedicated to my mom who just passed
Sure.
away a year ago.
You see, sorry for that. Yeah, I know that mom, because myself, I was a lonely child, no
Oh,
brother, no sister, and I know how mom and her mother, my grandmother, they how they contribute to the shaping of the character of children,
of
you know,
course.
and they give you a lot without expecting nothing, you
Yeah.
know. So God bless her soul and the souls of all our mothers and parents. And I was very happy to meet you online, Yesi. And I want to thank your husband for supporting you and going with you in this musical journey. I hope next time we can do an interview with both of you if you like. You know,
Oh, I will be
uh,
so amazing.
yeah, yeah, don't hide him from us.
Okay.
Okay,
I will do it.
and congratulations for the release of the album.
Thank you so much.
And I look forward to receive you again when you have a new project to announce. Feel, and I want to thank your PR company for contacting both of us together and for their press releases in Spanish and English promoting your work.
That's perfect. Yeah, I will do it.
You are in Norway, so enjoy the rest of the evening
Thank
and best wishes in your upcoming projects.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. So it's a big pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to share more of my plans with you.
Okay. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening and best wishes.
Best
Gracias.
wishes. Bye. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.